So we have a really good episode for you today. Talk about what happened in the market. Market was pretty flat today. Let's pull up our stock thing. So let's go by percentage. Dow was up basically almost nothing. NASDAQ was flat, and S&P was pretty flat for the most part. Yet we went up 2.5%, almost 3% if you look at after hours. So one of the things that we noticed here in here is we didn't have any big movers. We had one big mover down. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But we saw a lot of stocks that we kind of doubled down. We saw some buying opportunities come back and make us some money today. So specifically, let's take a look at the one that went down today, Corsair Gaming. They make hardware and memory components for video games. This one went down 14% today and then popped up at the end. So I was thinking, okay, well, we bought it at 39. It's sitting here at 34. It's down 11%. Do we want to go in and, have this be a greater buying opportunity? And I thought, well, it depends on the stock. If it was a hospitality stock or something that is going to just pop when more vaccines get approved and you get emergency authorization, I'd probably say yeah on that. But it's not. So I think it's a good opportunity as a whole. If we look at Corsair Gaming, I'll take a look at their upside. It's not really a COVID stock. You can see an upside of 0.49, which means it's not really matching kind of how we bought it. It had its IPO in September, got down to $14, went up to 50, and now it's down to 34. So, if it goes down further, maybe we'll take another look at it. But for right now, this has a lot of good upside, but we're just going to leave it alone for now. I ended up reading a little bit about Corsair. They talked about why they tumbled today. Basically, they had an analyst come out, and basically they moved it from a buy to a, where is that? From outperform to market perform, which is basically a hold. But they moved the stock price from 32 to 37, which really isn't a big deal. The stock's at 34 right now. You can see right there. But that's one analyst. Who knows? He could be just a total short guy. He could totally know the industry. We just don't know what it is. So we're going to leave that alone for now. We'll wait for more information before moving forward. All right, Nikola. This is the one that we looked at for the last month. Got up to, $35 a share, and then basically has plummeted down to about 17. And basically they were expected to have an agreement with GM, where they would make GM would help them make the Nikola Badger, which is an EV truck. But that fell through, and so we see plummet. And so I was thinking, okay, do I really want to buy it? I want to kind of see where things are going overall. So we see plummet, got down to about 16.97, and then we see it bump up to about 1873. So I thought, okay, it's sitting at 1819 right now. We'll see what the overall move is. So I just decided to do a stop buy, which basically means it's not our normal limit order, which basically means when it hits $19 a share, we'll buy 75 shares. So if it moves down, we don't buy it. If it moves up, basically $1, we'll buy it. And we still have an opportunity to buy it at 19 versus where it was at about 34, 35. And make a good amount of money. It's not a COVID stock, so we're not going to invest a ton of money in that. But that's one thing we did today. And I was reading this article, basically, and I don't take this, take it with a grain of salt, but this guy wrote an article saying, stand firm even as Nikola haters get aggressive. And where is this? So he says that this leaves us with the $1 million question. Is this partnership between Nikola and a major automaker really in trouble? Or is it just an instance of analyst speculation and unfounded bearishness? So with that being said, this guy's kind of bragging a little bit, stating that, where is this one here? I want to say, yeah. So he was saying that there was basically on November 11th, he told them to ignore governmental gridlock and to consider owning Nikola shares anyway. And this is basically after, where is this one? Basically, Boom. Yeah, so the downward pressure of a big bang analyst. This is the guy who just ripped him a new one, basically. Question is kind of where do they stand in the big scheme of things? On November 11th, he said ignore that and consider owning it anyway, and he kind of brags, and he says at the time, Nikola's stock was around 20. On the afternoon of November 25th, the share price was 50% higher than that, which is, $30, $31. So he's basically saying, look, I told you this before, ignore the haters and you're going to make money. And so he's writing this article saying, I want to emphasize that listening to the worriers and the naysayers isn't necessarily healthy for your portfolio. And again, it goes back to that sense of be greedy when people are fearful and fearful when people are greedy type of a thing. So anyway, he said the stock pulled back to $17 a share. Thus, enterprising traders were granted another chance to own shares at a more favorable price point. So anyway, that's kind of one of the things I was looking at, and I kind of wanted to get a sense on where things were at. Specifically, the old CEO is this guy named Trevor Milton. I guess he has allegedly highly inappropriate personal behaviors, but he's out, so he's not there anymore. He says even if we ignore his personal issues and focus on the company, there's no short of scandalous accusations. And that was back in September. Hindenburg Research was basically a noted short seller, published a scathing report calling it intricate fraud built on dozens of lies. So, but you got to know about short sellers. There's a lot of people out there that are trying to drive the price down so they can make money. So they'll buy it at 40, they'll short it at 40, they'll write something like this, try to drive the price down and make money. So you have to understand there are people that do that. I worked for a company that we dealt with this all the time. So, and you have somebody, basically trying to do the same thing. So at this point, we kind of don't know where it's at, but it's an opportunity to at least get in on a price point if we see some positive momentum up to a certain point. So, all right. So with that being said, we also had something on FX Street wrote one, and they basically just said here, basically the bargain hunters may jump in at this price point. And they one of the things they said here is they basically said they're kind of stuck in the EV industry and everybody's kind of going down, but this might be an opportunity to buy. So we'll see. All right. Blink Charging is another one. They basically own EV stations. They just bought another EV station charging company. And if we look at them for the last, take a look at them for the year, they were pretty flat at 168. Kind of wish I would have bought it here. Got all the way up to 33, which is awesome. It would have been like 25 or 20 to 1 uptick. But anyway, we can kind of go a little bit more north here. It got up to 33.60, kind of pulled back a little bit. And there's no real, big negative things on them. The only thing I see is they've hit all their earnings reports, and then Q3 they had a little bit of a hiccup. I'm not really sure what happened with that. So with this, I like this stock. We'll take a look at them a little bit more closely, but you look here, it's basically at 20, 22, 23, all around the same, and then it just takes a massive hit down to 1940 and then jumps back up. So it seems like if you're going to take a downward hit, it has some resiliency on that point. So with that being said, the high point we're looking at is about $33. It's sitting here at 22. I don't know. I honestly am 50-50, I don't really know when I want to buy it, when I not want to buy it. I do love this big tick, and I think this was based on Nikola. So if we were to look at this and get it down to 19, part of me thinks like, all right, if it goes down to 19 again, what do we want to take a chance at buying it? Maybe 1950. What would that look like? All right, call it $60 a share, or 60 shares, 1950. Yeah, we'll see. We'll just plug it in. I don't think it's going to hit that, but let's see. We do 1950, $60 a share. I'm not sure if I have it available. All right, it's good. Looks like we got it. All right. So if we buy it, it's got to be on our terms. We're not just going to buy it to buy it. It's got to hit that low. But the one thing I really like about this one is that it's very resilient. When it hits that point, immediately people realize, oh crap, like I'm going to buy it at that, and immediately starts building up. So that's definitely a good sign when it comes to them. All right, AHT, this is the one if we looked at for the last week. Took a big hit right here. Take a look at it for the month. So it's kind of up and down and up and down and up and down, which is kind of good in a sense. And then we look at it for the last week, and we had a day where it dropped from like 276 all the way down to 220, and even got down to like 214. So we bought that at 215, and it got all the way up to 255, which is our average cost basis, which actually broke us even. Went down a little bit, and overall had a good day today. Went up 10%. So this is a good example of one that we bought, and I still think there's a lot of uptick and there's a lot of room for this to really jump up in the future. So let's see, 242. So we'll just update this so we get a current 242. All right, so we're basically sitting here about 5% off, which is good because we'll see this jump up. But this one, we see a lot of nice upward potential. If we look at them with typical COVID stock, very even, maybe moving up a little bit. And right around, it went down to here. We'd love to have it when it was at, $81 a share, but really right before COVID hit, it was about 27 a share. We're getting it at 2 right now. So if this comes anywhere near, so $25, if it goes up to $25, we're going to make a 10-to-1 ratio on that. So the only difference on this one, the thing from a technical standpoint, is they issued a bunch of new shares, but it's a hospitality stock, and you might see people actually buy those shares. So we'll see where things go. I think that was basically issuing shares because they want liquidity. Who knows? They might do a reverse split. But this one has a lot of really good opportunity in the future. And as we look at over the last 3 months, as soon as the vaccine was announced, look at this difference in behavior. So this is based off of the new stocks being issued. This is from the vaccine. So short term, long term. All right, MBLX, we don't own it. It's a stock that I really loved a long time ago. Take a look at it. February 20th, it was at $20 a share. Got all the way down to, I don't know, call it $3. So I'm like, 6-to-1, 7-to-1. Love this one. But it just didn't really move a whole lot. Went up in June a little bit, but it just meandered for the longest time. And we look at when the vaccine was announced, which was right here. It still went up a little bit, but not as much as we want. But then what's kind of annoying, if we're just kicking it real, is after the first vaccine, it just was really taken off since then. So it's gone up 30% since then. So would I have, gone back in time and bought it? Probably, but honestly, this is just an annoying stock for me. I've just been very frustrated by it, annoyed by it, good, bad, and different. But just wanted to share that. It's like one of those really good stocks. Sometimes they're late bloomers. WPX Energy, same thing. We bought this one. This one, as soon as they announced the vaccine, it was like right here, just absolutely took off. Typical COVID pattern that we see right there. And we bought ours at $7.89, so we bought it right around here, seeing that it's going to go up. It took a down dip all the way down there, and we were going to buy more, but we decided just to hold on to it, which is fine. But since then, we saw a massive jump over the last couple days. Went from 713 to 752, and just today only, it went up 6%. So this is one we kind of held. It's still a tad bit in the red right here. But this will be good long term. This one, we have an upside of, where is this guy? Where is my WPX? Oh, it's in the middle. We have an upside on this guy of, it's not the big one, so 155. We'll get there pretty soon. PBF, considering selling that, we decided to hold off on that. And we have a limit sell. Actually, we put a limit sell of 703 if it got down to that, but it jumped up. So I think what we're going to do right now is just cancel that limit sell because there's no point. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think it's going up and we're not going to see that price again. All right, so let's cancel this guy out. All right, which is good news. It was meandering around there, but like I said, it's up 13% right now. We have a nice little jump. Sometimes inaction's the best action. IVR, gosh, this is just the most bipolar stock I've ever seen. Typical COVID pattern was all the way up at $18 a share, got down to $2 a share, so it's like an 8-to-1, 7-to-1 ratio on that. Typical, or bumped up in June just like we wanted to, and then it just went dead flat. I mean, just nothing, no volatility, and it was just annoying me that this was not moving, and it was in the red at the time. Then the vaccine was announced, and it's basically gone up and down and up and down. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. Maybe I'll buy it on a down low, but I'm just kind of mentally fried from this stock, to be honest. AVCT, this one's another one that's kind of just one of the more frustrating ones. Was up at, call it $10 a share, $11 a share, got down to $1.50, so kind of 8-to-1, and went up in June a little bit, had a massive uptick. If you watch the videos, you remember when we did that. We bought that. Just missed out. I mean, I literally had a purchase opportunity, and I had an order in the day before this hit, and it just didn't take. So, but this one went in, retracted down, and it's been meandering ever since then. Had a big tick on November 18th, but then it goes down. So it seems like every time it has a big uptick, it retreats down. So I would love to have this stock, but it just doesn't seem to have any firm momentum on its side. And then this one has just been good. For whatever reason, I've never bought it. Was it $71 a share? COVID hit, went all the way down to 14. It's basically 5-to-1. Went up in June, then the riots hit. And vaccine was announced, went up a little bit, and this one's just a steady climber. So what do I think about this one? Well, if we look at this one, it's a 1.61 ratio, and honestly, 25% buy rate. This is just a consistently good stock. If you want to make money and you want some low-hanging fruit, it's a good stock, but we have better alternatives. All right, so looking forward, a couple things here. The markets are, yesterday they were up and down and up and down and up and down. They end up being flat. This one's down a little bit, but they're all break even, 0.06, 0.08, 0.06. It really doesn't mean anything at all. Coronavirus, same thing. We have cases went up, then they dramatically went down, matches testing. Positivity rate's still there, but if we notice right here, they have data for November 30th. Let's take a look and see if they have any death data for since then. Because yesterday, the last one they had was the 24th of November, which is like before Thanksgiving. Yeah, and again, they haven't updated this at all, so we don't really know much about that. But there was a study that came out today, and they said that basically they did a study, and they said asymptomatic people do not transmit the virus, which is not going to get a lot of media attention. I tried to Google it, and you could barely find it. But it's something that's a really good sign. You have the vaccines coming out. England actually gave emergency use authorization for I want to say it's a Pfizer vaccine. So kind of puts a little bit of pressure on the FDA to get their butt in gear. But things are moving in the right direction. So the more FDA holds off, the more you have an opportunity to get your stocks in gear. So for right now, we are sitting at overall gain of 173. So we're close to tripling our return. We're aiming for a 500% return. We're at 400 to 500%. We're at almost 200% right now. And still leader in the clubhouse. Signet, we're not going to go through the whole list, but some things to notice. Caesars ready to triple, and Braemar Resorts over 100, which is good. Azul's about to double or triple, which is really good. Or Caesars about to quadruple. What am I talking about? Items that are in the red, WPX, we're close. That one's going to move up. We're just going to hold that one and let it go. Two Harbors, this is one of my little bipolar stocks that we have right here, but I have no reason to sell it. We don't have a big stake, so we're just going to let this one ride. It's a REIT, so it will come back. Texas Hospitality is another one. I've been debating whether to increase my interest in that. That one is number 3 on the upside list. So part of me wants to sit here and put some money in that right now. And maybe I will. Who knows? Let's take a look here. Oh, I do have a limit order on that for 140, so that makes sense. So it's at 160. If it goes down to 140, we'll buy it. If it goes up, then hey, it goes up. We'll take it. Helix Energy just crossed over into negative territory, which is kind of odd. So we're just going to hold that there. We only have $1,000 in it, so I'm not too worried about that. These are all oil stocks. They're going to rebound really, really nicely. Corsair Gaming we talked about. We're just going to hold that because it's not really a COVID stock. AMC is going to be fine. Once the vaccine is fully authorized, you're going to see movie theaters open, and trust me, they have plans ready to go. And then AHT is, we just bought that, lowered the asset, or we lowered the cost basis, and we have a 10-to-1 upside ratio. So right now we're just going to hold things. We have good choices. If you guys don't have your stock set up, you have time, but you need to get going because there's money to be made. But you need to get it in before the news hits, because once the news hits, it's already too late. So with that being said, we'll take a look at the pre-market stuff tomorrow, later in the night. I always check this throughout the evening, and we'll make some last-minute decisions if we see any big movement one way or the other. If it goes up, that's great. Maybe I might buy Texas Hospitality, or take a look at these. If it goes down, if I had to sell one just to free up some cash to buy something else, maybe Condor, because it's a new one and it's relatively flat. Let's see, are there any others I would probably do? No, not really. I'd say that would be the one. So, but we're pretty much set for the day. So with that being said, check this, get your stocks in, and I'll see you tomorrow.
To get more information on the sales cheat code, go ahead and click on the subscribe button below. Also, down below in the video description, down there, there's a link that takes you to our website that gives you additional content, some additional freebies that we have, and gives you information on some programs that we have that have been proven to help people to make sales easy so that you can make the kind of money you want, live the lifestyle that you've always wanted, and not have to struggle in the process. And what might be the coolest thing of all is you don't have to put much effort into it. It truly is a cheat code that most people don't know about. And it's a cheat code that can change your life today. So click on the link below and let me help you start to experience these results starting right now.